So thank you so much. It's great to be here to talk about the 5 Steps to Planning Success, which is a project of the Financial Literacy Center, which you've already heard so much about. And I had the opportunity to work on a great team, which included Angela Hung, R.A. Captain, Anna Maria Lusardi, who of course you've already heard from, and Joanne Jung, who's up here with me. So I'm going to go over, first of all, what are these 5 steps that we're talking about. Then I'm going to describe the rationale for our interventions and describe what we did. Then I'll present focus group findings and findings from an internet panel test of the interventions, and then get to conclusions and future directions, hopefully within 15 minutes. So to quote Anna Maria from earlier today, financial illiteracy is widespread, and one size does not fit all. So that's actually quite true for young adults. And we're talking here about adults between the ages of 18 and 40. And our focus is primarily on working adults. So young adults in particular have especially low levels of financial literacy. And they also often don't think that retirement planning or that materials related to retirement planning are really for them. They'll see things and they'll think, oh, that's for my parents, that's not for me. And so a big part of what we were doing in this project is designing interventions that were aimed at their low levels of financial literacy and also that seemed like they were for them. We focused on 5 basic economic principles, and those were harnessing the power of interest compounding, accounting for the effects of inflation, portfolio diversification, taking advantage of tax-favored assets, and also taking advantage of employer matches for 401ks if they were available. And for all of these 5 steps, the earlier these are practiced, the greater their benefits. There are also 5 steps that can apply to anyone. So everyone might not have a 401k, but if you follow these 5 steps, depending on your circumstances, I was speaking to someone earlier, and there's the first do no harm principle. Well, these 5 steps won't mess anyone up. And they also have practical implications. So we decided for our interventions to use personal narratives, so personal stories. So not only to introduce these financial concepts in a purely didactic way, but also to couch them within the stories of other young adults. And we felt that that might be a good strategy based on psychological and social marketing research, which has shown that such approaches can lead to behavior change, which is what our end goal down the line really is. So online video is quite popular with young adults, and here are some statistics that show that, and we thought that would be a good approach. It actually was quite interesting to me that when Alicia was giving her opening remarks, she talked about the Sorted New Zealand website, because that was actually partially informed what we're doing, because they have these amazing video clips on there, and we didn't do the exact same approach, but we wanted something similar, but that would appeal to our audience of young adults in a way that their material seemed to. So we prepared a series of 5 short videos, and you can see here's a screenshot of one of them. And we prepared a separate video describing elements of each of the 5 steps. So each video addressed one of the 5 steps. So for example, this is a screenshot of the step 3 video on risk diversification, which stressed the idea that you shouldn't put all of your eggs in one basket. And you see we have these relatable young adults in the videos, and you'll be able to also see our full videos at our booth outside. So I encourage you all to go take a look at those. So in addition to our videos, we also prepared matched narratives, so written narratives. So the content in our 5 videos, each addressing one of the 5 steps, was perfectly matched with 5 written accounts that didn't only include the same exact information as was found in the videos, but also was couched with within the same stories and personal accounts. And in these accounts, we included both, as I mentioned, both content knowledge and behavioral modeling. And we included dialogue between 2 young adult actors. And someone earlier, I believe it was Anna actually, mentioned that a lot of times the way that people learn financial information is from family and friends. And so that's kind of what we showed, is we showed exchanges between families and friends and learning opportunities. We also used the behavioral literature to inform the design of our intervention. So for example, in some cases we had the actors address challenges that they faced in implementing the implications of these 5 steps and how they overcame those challenges. And that sort of thing is expected based on the literature to improve resiliency when people who view them are trying to implement these steps in their own lives and face similar challenges. So we tried to be informed by the existing evidence. So the first way that we tested these interventions was with focus groups, which had been widely discussed. So we had 2 different focus groups, one with 10 people who were already saving for retirement, and another group with 8 people who said that they were not yet saving for retirement. And basically, each group saw some of the interventions in video and in written narrative format, and we got a pretty good response. People said that they found the content level to be appropriate. They did describe the videos as more motivating. They said they sort of got similar information from both, but that the videos might motivate people to more action. Something else that was interesting that I didn't initially include here, but referring back to things that people said this morning. So Alicia was talking about the importance of the credibility of the source of information, and this was something that we found really strongly and unsolicited. We didn't really focus on it in our questions, but people just spontaneously talked about how, and especially in the non-saver group, which had lower financial literacy to start off with, people really talked about how there's a lot of information out there, especially online. They don't know what's credible, they don't know what to trust, but at the beginning of each of our videos, we just have a shot that shows the logo of the Financial Literacy Center and says that it's from Rand and Dartmouth and Wharton, and people actually commented on that and said that that seemed like a very credible source and that made them trust the information a lot more and take it more seriously. And so, as I mentioned, people said they would be more motivated by the videos than by the written format. Some people also offered specific actions that they plan to take in response to our material. So one person said that they had just started a new job 6 months ago, but hadn't gotten around to filling out 401k forms, even though they were planning to, but this made them want to go ahead and do it right away. And they said that they plan to fill out those forms tomorrow. Again, the question, will they actually really do it? That's something that we will further explore, but at least this is a good start. Someone else said, last year I got a new nephew and a godson, so I think that I'll open an account for each of them to begin the compound interest. So this person was very influenced by the importance of starting early. Our direct intention wasn't necessarily open an account for a baby, but they certainly got the point and were applying it to their own lives. We also tested our interventions using an experimental design. We used the ALP Internet Panel, the American Life Panel at RAND, which is a great resource. And what we first did was we administered a baseline quiz on knowledge of the 5 steps. Then respondents were randomly assigned to either a control group, which did not receive an intervention, or to an intervention group. And people in the intervention group saw interventions for all 5 steps, so for all 5 of the financial concepts. They saw 2 of the steps in video format, 2 in narrative format, and 1 of them in both video and narrative format. And afterwards, we repeated the 5 steps quiz for both the intervention and the control group. And this shows a baseline performance on the quiz. So this is before anyone received any interventions. And the purple shows so each one of these bars shows a different one of the 17 questions on the quiz. And the green, that's not green, that's purple. So the purple shows ages 18 to 40. And the red is 41 to 64, and then the gray, 65 and older. And as you can see on every single question, the 18 to 40-year-old group performed worse numerically than the 41 to 64 group, and on almost every question, they also performed numerically worse than the 65 and over. So this confirms low financial literacy among this group. And then what we did was we looked at the difference in the change from baseline to the second follow-up quiz in the intervention group versus the control group, and we looked at how much more the intervention group improved on the quiz than the control group did. So how much did the intervention group improve more than the control group, or did they improve? And again, each of these bars represents a question, and they're color-coded by topic. So we have compound interest, inflation, diversification, understanding of tax-favored assets, and employer match. And the stars indicate statistically significant differences, but as you can see, for almost every question, except for the one inflation question, basically the intervention group was doing better, and on many of those, that difference was statistically significant. Or sorry, they were improving more. We also looked at the effective intervention type, because what was the effect of seeing a video versus a narrative versus a video and narrative on this financial knowledge? And we actually didn't find any differences, and that was true. We actually collected data on all of the adult age groups, so 18 to 40, 41 to 64, 65 and over, and for none of those age groups at this point did we find an effect of the format. So basically, we found that the interventions improved financial knowledge. We found no significant differences between presentation formats. For future directions, so one thing we'd like to do is conduct additional analysis, because we have quite a rich data set. We have a lot of information about these people. There's a lot more sort of to figure out about what's going on with different groups here and things to compare. Additionally, we did also collect self-efficacy measures pre and at time 1 and time 2, so at baseline and follow-up, and those are measures very similar to self-confidence, but more specific about self-efficacy beliefs, about being able to carry out behaviors related to these 5 steps, and so we'd also like to see if there was a change in that as a result of the interventions, particularly because self-efficacy beliefs have been linked to behavior change. And that actually gets us to one of our next future steps, which is that we will be studying the medium run effects of these interventions. We will be doing a 6-month follow-up, and in that 6-month follow-up, we will be measuring knowledge again, but in addition, we'll also be measuring behavior, which is really what we care the most about, and so that piece of it is actually really exciting to us. Something else that we're going to be doing moving forward is we're going to be working not only with these existing tools, but also working on making our tools stronger. So we're going to look at increased sensitivity to numeracy. We have, as Anna mentioned, a linguist who's coming on board, who's going to be involved with this project, trying to make it more effective and accessible. We also have a specialist in visual analytics who's going to help us incorporate a tool to help people better understand risk diversification in an interactive way. And something else that we're also going to do is to expand our target audience to middle-aged workers low in financial literacy, not only to young adults.
Thank you.